Well, let's bring in our big guns of politics, Leader of Government Business Anthony Albanese and Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey. Good morning to both of you. Anthony,
good morning.
If I can just start with you, incidents like these ones, I mean, we've seen two this week. Do they have any bearing on our commitment?
Look, this is indeed a tragedy. These people have given their lives serving the nation, but the government remains committed to our position on Afghanistan. It is critical, given that this area is playing a role in terms of support for international terrorism, that we continue to be part of the operation there that's about making the world a safer place.
Joe, what's the opposition think? Should we stay there?
Well, we can't walk away from the fight. We can't give up on this one, Koshy. It's just too important for Australia. There are too many Australians that have died at the hands of terrorists and over the last few years, and we strongly support engagement in Afghanistan. It's an ongoing war. It's going to be damn hard. But, we can fight the war over there, or we can have the war fought on our own shores. And quite frankly, we're going to have to continue to fight over there.
Okay.
All right. Gentlemen, I want to ask you about the Alcopops tax, proven to be a bit of a fizzer this week, of course, after its defeat in the Senate. I want to talk about what happens now to the $300 million in tax that's been collected in the past year. Now, the government says that it's got to hand the money back to the alcohol industry. The distillers don't want the money back. They say if they are forced to take it, they'll put it towards alcohol education. Now, the opposition, I understand, wants legislation introduced so the government can put the money towards binge drinking rehabilitation programs. Anthony, we've got a question then maybe you can answer for Louise. She's emailed our soapbox saying, wouldn't it be better for the money to be put into alcohol education programs? That seems to be the consensus, as I think the distillers agree. Why are you going to force the alcohol industry to take the money back?
Look, of course, for the distillers, this is a huge con job. What they're saying is, we don't want the $300 million, but we do want the $1.6 billion tax break. What our legislation did was simply close a loophole that was introduced some 8 years ago to give a tax break so that alcohol, when mixed with soft drink, is essentially cheaper than the alcohol were it to be sold alone. And that tax break is worth some $1.6 billion. We're committed still to closing it. And this is just a huge boon for the Alcopops industry. I really can't understand the opposition's position on this. At the same time as they're complaining about us giving $900 to pensioners and carers, they essentially have handed back $1.6 billion to the alcohol industry.
Joe?
No, mate. No, that's just dead wrong. Can I point out this? Firstly, it was meant to be a health measure to address binge drinking. Now, Albo's saying on TV it's about addressing a tax anomaly, right? It was meant to be stopping teenage binge drinking. Well, I tell you what, it only forced kids to go out and buy full bottle alcohol. That's what they ended up doing. And
the evidence is not
right?
that is not the case.
There is a huge amount of evidence, right? The second point is, they say give back the money to the industry. We say the money should be in an alcohol education fund, and we are treating this exactly the same way as when we were in government and there was an extra collection of tax on beer, and the Labor Party said, put it into an alcohol education fund, and as a government, we did. So I just say to these guys, stop playing politics, give it to the educators. Give it to the educators, mate, and let's get on with it.
An unbelievable position. I mean, I'm stunned at both the opposition and Family First position. I mean, this makes Alcopops, which are targeted towards teenage girls in particular, cheaper. It's that simple.
The biggest consumers of Alcopops are the Bundy and Rum consumers, and they're blokes aged between 25 and 40. They're the biggest consumers. The Bundy and Rum, Black Rats.
The marketing of these drinks is aimed at young women. It is young people in particular who have an issue out there with binge drinking. And we're not arguing for any special treatment here. What we were simply saying is that the special treatment for Alcopops should be taken away.
Okay.
That's simple, as a health measure.
All right, OK, let's move on. You're going to agree to disagree there. Hopefully, whichever way it goes through, it will end up sort of trying to overcome binge drinking and education programs. I've got to say, it is the national shame at the moment of this country. It is awful. We've got to do something about it. Guys, I want to get your view on Queenslanders going to the poll tomorrow in the closest run election in years. We did invite Premier Anna Bligh and Opposition Leader Lawrence Springborg to a debate. They both declined. They just wanted to come on separately and push the same old spin. Now, a lot of media attention has been taken up by Pauline Hanson and Warwick Capper. Albo, has that frustrated Anna Bligh's campaign, do you reckon?
Oh, I think it probably, the whole sort of Pauline Hanson thing from a distance is what people in Sydney and Canberra certainly have focused on in the last week. That seems to be most of the reporting. But essentially this is about a stable administration for Queensland that's supporting jobs, that's doing more for infrastructure spending than any other state government in the country. And I think that Anna deserves to be the first woman elected in her own right as a Premier in the country tomorrow.
Wow, she didn't need to come on. Joe, Lawrence Springborg has been...
I should declare an interest. She's a friend of mine. I think she's a terrific,
really?
strong woman.
Oh, OK. Who would have thought?
Joe, Lawrence Springborg's been defeated at the previous two previous elections. We were speaking this morning to a political expert who reckons this could be his turn. Do you think it'll be third time lucky?
Well, look, Mel, I just don't know. Queensland's a huge state. It's got a very big country vote. Brisbane's instrumental in the outcome. Look, I met Lawrence Springborg for the first time during the election. I'm going to say I was really impressed. He's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy, actually. He's got very strong views.
He doesn't.
Well, no, but you know what? He doesn't spin. He's not a. He doesn't go on, right? He's a fair income sort of guy, and I like those sort of people. And you know, I think he'd be a damn good Premier of Queensland at the right time.
Jeff, this is his third time running. Federal and state sort of Conservative parties are really close, are they, if you've only just met him after 12 years?
Well, no, can I tell you, Koshy, I mean...
Well,
look,
the Liberal National, it's an unholy alliance up there, an unholy, unstable alliance. They've been fighting for decades.
Can I tell you, it isn't. Look, I mean, I'm just being fair income, right? I mean, I haven't had a cause to meet Lawrence over the years. I met him when he asked me to come up and launch his campaign in Warwick the other day. I've spoken to him a few times since. I like the guy. Immediate impression is he's a strong character. He's a good man. He's a good family man. Good values. That's what you want in a leader.
OK. All right, guys, you both put the cases very eloquently for both of them. Good to see you. Have a good weekend.
Do you want me to put a case for Anna Bligh? I mean, I'm happy to do that.
It's a lot easier to do than a case for Lawrence Springborg, Joe.
Off you go. See you next Friday.
See ya.
We need egg timer or something, don't we? All right, let's update.